This week was an important milestone for me in the world of Amazon FBA because it was my selling anniversary. I've officially been selling my own brand of products on the Amazon platform for 4 years now. And in that time, I've experienced pretty much every emotion that you can go through. There's been highs, there's been lows, and there's been meh. I've grown from zero experience selling a single product that generated me £5,000 in revenue in its second week to a 7-figure business that sells 20 products under 2 of my own brands, generating £170,000 in a single month. But has it all been worth it? Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about with you today. My honest experience of being an Amazon FBA seller, which includes the positives and the negatives, and whether I think it's worth the effort if you wanted to start from scratch today. Before we get into my Amazon FBA review, let me just tell you about Awesome, who are sponsors of this video. If you haven't heard of them before, Awesome are a digital accountancy firm that have completely changed the accountancy landscape. As specialists in Amazon FBA and e-commerce businesses in general, they take the pain of the administrative side of running a business away. They can help you set up your business and then run all of your accounting affairs for you, whilst you focus on the most important thing, you and growing your business. For viewers of this channel only, they're running a special deal where they'll set up your business and be your accountant for 2 months, all for the sum of just £1. So check the link in the description if that sounds right up your street. If you're not familiar with my backstory and motivations for wanting to start an Amazon business back in 2017, well, let me just rewind and summarize. Back then, I was working for a small investment bank and I was incredibly stressed and anxious. Whilst the pay was good and the work was fairly interesting, the culture of the bank was incredibly cutthroat. If you didn't perform in line with their expectations, or management simply didn't think that you were right for the business, you would be fired without hesitation. In my first few months of working for this firm, I saw around 10 different people getting shown the door. And that was a real shock to the system because I'd never witnessed anybody getting fired before in all of my previous jobs. As the months progressed and I saw more and more people being let go, my anxiety skyrocketed and I had many sleepless nights worrying if I would be next. So I decided to look for ways to make money online as a safety blanket, and I knew that would relieve me of much of the stress that was being caused by work. So after weeks of researching and looking online, I came across Amazon FBA. I loved the business model and I immediately knew that this was the right type of opportunity for me. Fast forward to today, and without a doubt, my life has completely changed because of the experiences that I've gone through, which have been both good and bad. So let's talk about the positive things that I've experienced in creating my own Amazon FBA business. Well, first of all, it's allowed me to do something that I dreamed of doing ever since I was a kid, and that was running my own business. Despite always wanting to be my own boss, before discovering Amazon FBA, I just never knew how to go about doing this. I'd go through periods of trying to think of different business ideas before I'd lose interest because I just didn't know what to do next, and I'd end up just carrying on with my job and life. Amazon FBA, though, it really took the difficulty out of starting my own business, and I'd say that's probably one of the most attractive parts of this business model. You can get started as an absolute beginner with just a laptop and an internet connection, and there's no daunting tasks such as the need for you to invent anything or for you to think of a ridiculously good idea in order to be able to generate substantial amounts of money. Essentially, you just need to look at what products already sell well on Amazon, think of ways that you can make improvements, and then place an order with a supplier for the product that you want to sell. Once you've cracked that, the scaling opportunities are unlike no other. You can launch more products under your existing brands, just like I have. You can start selling in North America, Europe, and so on, all at the click of a button. And eventually, if you want to, you can get your products to be sold in shops. And what makes the Amazon FBA opportunity even sweeter is that it has very low barriers to entry, because in addition to not needing any prior experience, you don't need much money to be able to get started either. Unlike most other retail businesses, an Amazon FBA one, it doesn't require you to rent warehouses, shops, or employ staff. You can get started with as little as £1,000, and that was something that really appealed to me when I first got started, because I knew that if I really hated the business model and wanted to quit, then I wouldn't have lost tons of money and then have to incur exit fees from having to close down shops and fire staff and so on. Amazon FBA really takes the difficulty out of starting your own business. No prior experience is necessary, and all you need is a laptop and an internet connection to get started. In order to be a success and generate lots of profit, you don't even need to have to invent your own product. You can sell ones that already exist. Essentially, to make bags of cash on Amazon, you just need to look at what products are already selling well using tools such as Helium 10. Think of ways that you can make improvements to that product, and then place an order with a supplier that you can find on Alibaba. Once you've cracked that and you've made your first few sales on Amazon, if you want to scale, then you can start selling in North America, Europe, and so on at literally the click of a button. Amazon FBA really is the money-making opportunity of a lifetime. In addition to making the process of setting up and then running your own company incredibly straightforward, running an Amazon FBA business gives you a ton of transferable skills that you can actually use in all walks of life. Over the past 4 years, I've learned how to negotiate with suppliers, import products, outsource, calculate profitability, manage cash flow, and tons more. There are so many skills that you'll learn as an Amazon FBA seller, and as a result of developing all of those life skills, your self-confidence will grow, and you'll realize that no business idea that you have now or in the future is ever off limits. The whole Amazon FBA selling experience completely changed my mindset when it came to making money online. Before I made my first sale on Amazon, I was always a little bit apprehensive about online businesses and how much money you could really earn. But as soon as that first bank deposit was made into my account by Amazon, and I saw that it really does work, my outlook on magic internet money, as I call it, it completely changed. And because of that change in my mindset, I've since gone on to build out 6 additional income streams that all generate me more than 6 figures of profit every single year. And that's in addition to my Amazon FBA business. Those income streams have all come to fruition because of the confidence and understanding that I've been able to develop as a result of running an Amazon FBA business. So a huge positive there. As my Amazon business has matured, the amount of time that I've needed to spend on it has actually reduced. Because I'm doing Amazon FBA, it's Amazon that takes care of storing and then posting products to customers for me. And over the past year, I've been able to reduce my workload even more by outsourcing tasks such as advertising to freelancers. This means that my business can now run and generate profits with minimal interaction from me. And that gives me a ton of flexibility when it comes to how I want to spend my time. This is one of the main attractions of running an Amazon FBA business, the fact that it can get very close to giving you an income stream that can more or less be completely automated. How cool is that? Whilst my experience of selling on the Amazon platform has had many highs, that doesn't mean to say that Amazon FBA is without its faults or challenges, and that I've not had many lows. Without a doubt, one of the most challenging parts of being an Amazon FBA seller is finding a product to sell. When I was looking for my first product, it felt like a never-ending nightmare. Every time I thought I'd found a product worth selling, there'd always be something that would suddenly pop up and make me realize that it wasn't worth progressing with. Product research is challenging, it's frustrating, and it really does test you to see how much you want to create an Amazon FBA business. If you can drum it into your head that Amazon FBA is not a get-rich-quick scheme, and it does take time and effort to build the foundations of what will hopefully be a very profitable business, then you're much more likely to become very successful with finding a product to sell. But it's going to be a challenge nonetheless. With that said, it does get easier, and once you find a product, start selling and see that this whole Amazon FBA malarkey really does work. Your confidence increases, and if you do decide to start searching for a second product, you just generally find the process a lot easier. Well, that's been my experience anyway. Getting to the point of actually selling a product that you've created, it's incredibly rewarding, especially when you realize that it's complete strangers out there that are logging on and then choosing to buy your creation over anybody else's. That is, of course, if you are able to make sales. For one reason or another, your product might not be as much of a success as you'd hoped, which can lead to feelings of disappointment, regret, and unhappiness. Amazon FBA, or any business for that matter, it's not risk-free. So launching a product that isn't successful, that's something that you need to be prepared for. It's happened to me in the past, and it's pretty demotivating, especially if you don't know why your sales aren't what you were expecting to make. Having gone through that experience myself, my advice is to always seek the opinions and guidance of others, no matter how confident you are. So ask friends, family members, and your mentor, if you have one, for their opinion of your product and listen to their advice. Not asking for the opinion of others was a trap that I fell into when I first started, and because of that, I made a couple of bad decisions when it came to my product. Running an Amazon FBA business can at times be stressful, and that's because sometimes things will happen that you just don't expect. I've experienced periods where my sales have all of a sudden dropped off a cliff with no explanation. I've had listings removed by Amazon, and I've had shipments that I've sent in, they've just disappeared off the face of the earth, all of which have created unnecessary stress and headaches. Whilst each time something bad has happened to my business, I've sworn a lot and pulled out my hair, I do understand that no business is ever going to be plain sailing, and it's these type of experiences that help you to learn and grow the most as a business person, or that's what I tell myself anyway. So if you're going to give this Amazon FBA business a good go, in exchange for all the good times and the profit that you'll be making, you need to be prepared for challenges, curveballs, and moments of stress. Speaking of stress, one thing that's meant to make your life easier as an Amazon seller, but actually does the opposite, is Amazon's seller support. Amazon's support team can only be described as a complete shambles, and that is putting it politely. Likely as a result of being grossly underpaid and undertrained, over the past 4 years, Amazon's seller support have caused me untold amounts of stress, and that's because of them usually misunderstanding my questions and then doing something that I didn't want them to do, or just because they're so inept that they give the wrong advice, which causes a load of damage. The worst type of example that I've seen happen before is where somebody complained to seller support that a competitor had copied their listing, and in response, seller support then closed the listing of the person complaining instead of the copycat. That's just one example out of hundreds that I could share, and it's not just me that thinks this. It is pretty much universally accepted that Amazon's support team for their sellers is completely dreadful, and that might be surprising to you because the support for buyers, well, that's world class. Fortunately, as I've gained more and more experience, I've not needed to reach out to seller support as much as I used to. In fact, I try to avoid contacting them unless it's absolutely necessary. And that's what I'd advise everyone else to do. If you need help, use forums, Facebook groups, courses, and mentors in the first instance, unless of course you want to experience what it's like to deal with somebody that is so incompetent that they'll often do the exact opposite of what you ask them to do. If you really do need to get in touch with support, perhaps over a technical point to do with your account, then a tip from me is to always contact them on the phone rather than communicating by email, where it's more likely they'll misunderstand you. Whilst my experience of dealing with other sellers over the past 4 years has generally been fine, there have been some instances where I've witnessed the dark side of business and had competitors trying to destroy it. 1-star review attacks, listings being copied, and fake patent claims, Those are examples of ways that competitors have tried to get the upper hand on me, which really was not a nice experience to go through. These days, Amazon is a lot more on top of detecting these black hat tactics, and they'll usually remove them before the full impact is felt. But even so, a competitor trying to ruin your business because of their jealousy, that's a possibility, not just with Amazon, but any business in general. So it's always a necessity to be on your guard and ready to act in the event that it does happen. Fortunately, it's not something that I've had to deal with that much over the past 4 years, and hopefully that will be the same for you too. Selling on Amazon over the past 4 years has been an incredible rollercoaster journey with lots of highs and lows. Thankfully, with far more points of happiness though than sadness. The entire experience has allowed me to develop an ever expanding business skill set, something that I just wouldn't have been able to do if I just focused solely on my job in banking. In addition to bettering myself when it comes to business, more broadly speaking, it's helped me to have a better quality of life, given that I now have much less anxiety and stress than before I started. And that's because I no longer rely on a job for 100% of my income. Instead, I've built out multiple income streams across a number of different areas, meaning if one of them stops for whatever reason, then it's okay, because the others will still continue to fund my bills and expenses. Whilst there have been many challenges and setbacks throughout my time as an Amazon seller, that's just a part of life which you're going to encounter with any business model. What's important is that I've learned from those negative experiences, and I've become so resilient that I've developed a mindset that now refuses to give up ever. So overall, my experience of Amazon FBA has been an incredibly positive one, and I've no doubt that I'm in a much better position today financially and emotionally than I would have been had I just decided to carry on relying solely on my job for income. So I hope that my experience and my review of selling on the Amazon platform has encouraged you all to take action and get started today. If you have any questions about the process that I've been through, let me know in the comments. And if you want to learn more about Amazon FBA, check out my free training, which I will link below. I'll see you guys next time.